I don't think I have to say hashtag ad for my own product, right? Pretty sure I don't have to. Put ad again. I just don't think this is necessary. It's my own thing. This is my product. I have a question. Show of hands. Have any of you looked me in the mouth and thought, how did they make the set behind this podcast? How do you make all this stuff? Did this just poof into existence? Or did they have to thoughtfully plan and develop this over the course of several months? The answer is, we don't care, we want ads. It was an accident. Oh, yeah, we tripped and fell in here, right. Okay, so for real, I'm gonna talk about how does a podcast like this get made? It actually is a lot of work to like put together all of this stuff and make it happen. And I thought it could be cool to explain how we did all this and the development of this podcast. Again, mostly because I didn't have anything else prepped for today. I also am fully aware that most of you guys don't give a shit about podcasts, okay? This is not about like, wow, podcasts are so amazing. This is just specifically about set design. It's like, how do you build a set? So I have made a presentation! And I used the Google template so that it looks very professional and businessy. Also, it is wild. Like, the thing is seemingly doing really well. Like, what I was hoping for is after a year, if our episodes are getting to 100K views, that would be like hugely successful. And it's at 350. I don't know why it keeps going up. And we're literally above Tucker Carlson on Spotify, which doesn't make sense to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. This isn't me playing up a bit. I don't think it's that good. So I'm not clear what's going on here and why all these people are watching it. But objectively, the first episode, success, which is great. Whether or not, I guess it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if the thing is successful. This is purely about developing a set. How the fart do you do that? All right, let's talk about how to make a podcast set. Woo! All right, a couple months ago, Aiden and A-Truck had the idea to do a podcast, and I was like, can I join? And they were like, yeah. And so then we started talking about it. It was mostly just loose conversations for a while, and then it started to become kind of real. We started to like think through it. As a reminder, I used to do stuff like this as a job before I became a professional dumbass. So this follows roughly how you make things. So originally, when we decided to make the podcast, it was just, business podcast. And the idea for the name was Just Good Business. Wow. Based off of the line from Pirates of the Caribbean 3, the movie that I haven't seen. This is not an ad. Sellout. I just don't, guys don't seem to understand what that word means. You got to listen to the podcast for free. I guess, yeah. The original idea was Just Good Business. Aiden was really interested in that. It has a good vibe. It's fun. I think it's a fun name. And so that's what we were kind of going off of. And so generally what you do when you're designing set type things is you start by a mood board. A mood board is just a collection of different images or things that might be roughly the kind of vein you're interested in. It's literally like a collage. You jam all these things together. So we were like, okay, stock markets, maybe like news type stuff, maybe like war room type things. We were also looking at other people's podcasts. This is not to say we liked these guys' sets. We were just looking at different things. I mean, like, okay, what might be something that's somewhat inspirational? We also threw together a mood board type stuff here. So we like had these different ideas, and maybe it's like a loft, like it's more of a pirate based thing. Maybe it's all this whatever weird stuff, like accent inspirations that are maybe like, more like Japan focused, stuff like that. So we put together all of these different images that represented some of the maybe broad ideas. And then at this point, you go give this to a set designer. We started talking to our set designer, Denmark, and we were like, hey, Denmark, these are a broad kind of rough idea. What do you think? And so generally the next step is you'll get back kind of a mood board and kind of a pitch. So it looks like this. So we got pitched back 3 different concepts. Disclaimer, by the way, these renders and everything that we go through, they are intentionally simplified. Maybe use rough assets. You might even borrow assets from other, media or libraries in order to evoke something on a simple level of what you're trying to get, right? In this early stages, you're just throwing shit at the wall. So please do not view this as like, why isn't that look amazing yet? The point is that you work up to that, all right? So this is like the first stage. So there's kind of 3 concepts. It was like, okay, one is we like bought a stock exchange. So we're like in the New York Stock Exchange. That could be kind of funny and interesting. It's still like a little bit degenerate, it's like there's like things falling over and whatnot. It's like we bought an old stock exchange. Another is we'll make it ourselves. We're more like we've hacked together this like crappy, treehouse type of vibe, and then we'll sort of be sitting there with maybe lemonade or whatnot. We had the idea of a lemon in a briefcase early on, but lemonade wasn't the focus. Another one is like, okay, what if it's more of a newsroom focus, right? So it's like we are in a newsroom, maybe there's screens and stuff behind us, so it's like more of that kind of like traditional TV vibe, and you can see some stuff down here like action news. And so we thought these were cool, and I think we were interested in a mix. We didn't have a super intense focus yet on what it would be, but I think I was leaning more towards this vibe. We were thinking maybe we try to like do a mix of like business, stock exchange, but also like in a loft that we've kind of put together ourselves and it looks a little bit bad. All right, so at this point, a set designer, what they're gonna do now is actually pull stuff into a 3D program and start making, again, very rough to start concepts. So we get the first render. Very simple kind of newsroom vibe. And, you know, as we look into it, it's like here to be the podcast, you get the kind of news sign behind, you get TVs, you get over there like a stock ticker that's on a side, a camera that was like falling behind. Fairly simple, right? And as you can see from above, you need to utilize your space fairly well. Most studios are not like some gargantuan amount of space. You really need to be pretty concise. And again, the idea is not like, this is your studio, this is your set. It's more like, is this the right direction? And we were like, yeah, it's cool. Feels like maybe a little too newsroomy. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, it's kind of like Stanley Parable Office vibes. It does the ATM work. This is a render. The ATM isn't real yet. It's not even on camera. But we were like, yeah, okay, this is cool in the right direction. We want it to feel more fun, but let's keep going. So we get second renders and they look like this. Okay, so now we're getting to the point that we're gonna flesh it out a little bit more. And as you can see, a lot more stuff going on here, right? There's the big TV in the background. There's still the ATM, I guess. I realize there's a mannequin on it. There's some lemon stuff because we now know our logo is gonna involve lemons, but there's not like a super lemonade focus. So this very much is like, we are like in an old newsroom, right? I don't know who this guy is. That might actually be the Pope. And so we like this, but we're like, it still doesn't feel like fun to me. And also like the lemons don't feel super incorporated. It feels very random. This literally looks like an office, in my opinion. And to be clear, that's maybe what some people would want their podcast to look like. But to me, I was like, it feels too much like we're literally in an office. It looks awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool look, but I was like, I don't know. At this point, I was having a hard time, and the other guys as well were having a hard time expressing how to make it like fun business. This is one of the things about like working with artists and designers and whatnot. If you're just like, I want a cool, fun business space, that doesn't mean anything, right? And so at this point, we weren't refined enough in what we wanted, and it was just becoming very business office. You know what I mean? Now we're getting like a space that looks real and has stuff in it, and we could turn this into an actual set, but it's like, okay, it still feels kind of off to me. So at this point, Denmark's like, I feel like we're still not on the same page about what exactly we want. And so we went into our studio and we talked with him in person. It was great. I love talking in person with people. At this point, I had signed a lease and we got a space. So we have we have this physical place that we're going to put our stuff in. Okay. But we don't know again, like what we're actually going to put in it. So we go into the studio with Denmark. There's the four of us. It's me, Atriok, Aiden, Perry, who's our producer and has been helping run and set up the whole thing, and Denmark. And we get around the space, we're just like looking at stuff. And we decide what we really want to do is be tech bros. Atriok has a great point. It should feel like we're a bunch of tech bros who made way too much money, and now we're trying to like set up an office, but we're kind of too dumb to know how to do it in a good way. You know what I mean? It's that mix of like, it is an office, but it's also stupid and over the top. And so we started looking at actual tech offices. For the people who work in the tech industry, this is what they look like. It looks like a bunch of HR people were like, what would people think is fun in an office? Ping pong table, car. Like I've worked in these and I've been in these offices. They're really fun, but they are very bizarre as well. It looks like Silicon Valley, the show, if you've seen it. Another one that I like is the Red Bull office. Red Bull office is like, they just want everything to be cool and fucking awesome. And there's all these athletes everywhere. There's all this Red Bull everywhere. Literally in the Red Bull office, if you go there, this is an office where people work. Every 10 feet, there is a fridge full of Red Bull. That's not a joke or an exaggeration. Might not be literally every 10 feet, but it is definitely literally every 50 feet. Everywhere. This isn't an ad. I was paid that one time. Okay. There is Red Bull everywhere. I mean, you could see like a fridge here, but like all over their office are refrigerators full of Red Bull, right? And like, this is Google right here. Like they just have giant colorful signs. This type of shit is normal where they just have like a DJ booth. When I worked at Zynga in 2012, it was insane. They had arcade games and crazy posters and a bar and it was just all over the place. So we're like, ooh, this is a good inspiration. And so that was where we really got grounded. We're like, okay, now we have like a core idea to go off. The next renders after we've landed on like Tech Bro office, and it looks like, okay, now this is looking a little better, okay? Now we got this space that there's some color, there's some greenery. Here are two of the example people in the render program. Here's this guy in the render program. This one is great. Yeah, it has more of that sense, right? So this is really good and it's feeling a lot better, but I think all of us are like, it doesn't feel like fun in the way that we would want. We need a little more fun. It still feels a little too like we're in a basement, to be honest. But it still feels like corporate, depressing office where somebody came in and was like, I know what will make the workers happy. Yellow sign. You know, it doesn't feel like genuinely fun yet. This is largely what we gave the feedback on. Aiden said, yeah, exact same. This feels like Lex Friedman's setup with lemons and yellow around. It needs more fake upbeat tech startup vibe. And Atriox said, this guy is me. And I said, I'm the Asian guy. So we were like, hey, we'd like it to be a little more like whimsical and silly. You know, like we're a bunch of weird, dumb idiots who like aren't really qualified to make a business. And we think the most important thing about business is to like put funny stuff everywhere. So Denmark went back in and he made it more whimsical. And this is definitely pops a lot more. It's a lot more colorful. But the feedback here was like, okay, now it feels like we're in a Nickelodeon show. You know, I like this more than the previous one, but now it's almost like, are we in a cartoon world? You know what I mean? Add slime. It looks like we're gonna get slime. This is like, to be clear, the last couple renders are at a point where like any of these could be a show. Any of these could be a 6 set, but we're still like, it's not like quite what we want. And at this point, Denmark was like, could you guys just get into a call with me and let's just literally get into the program, this render program, and just move all of these things around individually so I can get a better sense of what specifically you guys want. Because I can't figure out, you guys want business and you want whimsy, but I'm trying, and you guys just keep saying you want to swing way to the other direction. You know what I mean? And so we got on a call, and we basically got our final version. We sat there for like an hour or two, and we were moving around plants. And I was like, more speakers. And we were like, fridges. Put fridges everywhere. We should have drinks like Red Bull. And we got the fucking lemonade office. And this is very close to what the final thing looked like. Look at all these, like, we put all these, like, freaking refrigerators over here. There's refrigerators in the back. There's more lemon stuff. There's a big sign over on the left side next to me, the Asian guy. We put skateboards on the wall. I don't know if you can see that well here. All this greenery at the top. I love the greenery. Like really leaning into like browns and greens and yellows, you know? Just throwing speakers everywhere, dude. This one is actually sick. Yeah. Oh my God. Somehow I knocked over something on my desk the same time you guys did that, so I kind of freaked out. So this was where I, like, for me, my notes at this point was literally like, I think this is 95% of the way there. I'm good. Like, we're like, this is great. So there's a couple changes that you'll notice as we get to the actual thing. One of them is this sign on the left. We took the 7-Eleven sign, took out the 11, and then used that as a placeholder. The show was not going to be called 11-11. So we were like, we probably want like a sign here. Maybe we have like a pegboard that has all these like toys and stuff on it. But then that turned out to feel a little too goofy. I was like, I think it should just be a big sign. Because again, it was this constant like weird battle between it being goofy and weird and funny, but not too much. You know what I mean? So that was like the whole challenge of this. It's like finding that medium. And I think it finally landed on this one. And that means we're now ready to actually put stuff into a place. This is where Denmark and his team come in and they just start chopping wood. Yeah! Oh, I forgot to center the pictures. Sorry. So we're coming in there with ladders. And we're coming in with hammers. And we start painting the walls. By the way, these are fake fridges. It looks like a fridge because otherwise we would have had to pay for a giant fridge. So we cover this wall with fridges. You can see we're making like custom speakers over here. We started to put up the greenery. We put up some posts. We put up some like, I don't know what this is called, a dresser or whatever. We started to put plants in the back. Starting to paint various things. This is the thing that the stand is on the right. You can see back here, that like big vagina thing. That is the foam that is gonna be the big giant lemon, right? And so it's slowly coming together. You can see this is the desk. Now the desk is painted with browns. All right, now the right side, we have all the refrigerators coming in and they have a bunch of drinks in them that we've painted. That's Atriox. We've got things up there. We've got the TVs in place. He put this like German book in there for some reason. We don't have a sign up here yet, but we're like, okay, there'll be a sign there. We got this Just Good Business sign custom made for us. Belatro up on the TV. This is me next to Belatro. There's a few minor things. At first, we had 4 TVs that were in a big grid, and we were like, that'll look cool, because then we can split it into 4 different images like that. And then we did a test recording, and we were like, you know what? It's kind of too much. This is like a lot of stuff. We returned the 4 TVs and bought 1 TV and put that up. There was other things. This TV came broken at first, so we had to go get a replacement. We had to move various things in the back. We decided that some spots looked too crowded. We adjusted. We weren't sure how many pipes to put on this thing at first, so we painted this part black, curved the thing out, made it just 2 pipes that are coming out. There's a lot of tech stuff that goes into this. There is a lot of wires connecting everything. The way we have this set up for people who do tech things is that we have NDI, which is video feed over Ethernet cords, basically, that connects everything. And that means all the TVs in the studio, we can set any feed on it. And that allows us to do cool stuff like having us on an iPad pull something up on the desk, and then that shows up behind on the TV, or in front of us, or on the side thing, and then we can draw on it. All this cool ass shit. There's a bunch of cameras. All these things have wires everywhere that are like hidden in the set. It's really cool. Lots of tech stuff. And then the final product turned out to be this, and it looks fucking sick, dude. It looks so good. And this is the actual thing that we launched last week. And I love this set. I think it's awesome. I love the mix of greens and yellows. I love that it's like cool and businessy, but it's not like too businessy. We got our cool little presentation thing. Let's be honest, we got to reframe this. We got a bunch of white, we got just empty space over here, and then I'm just blocking the TV. But it's still cool. And then we can pull up things behind us. So like if we're talking about something, you can see it in the background instead of like just literally wondering what the people in the podcast are talking about. It's so cool. Yeah, that's the main set. The build itself, it's like about a week of building things, but then there's little things that we're adding over the subsequent weeks. Here, I will allow you to cinema. How much is the price? This type of thing is expensive. It's expensive to make a custom set. It depends on a lot of different choices you make. Generally, you're talking in the tens of thousands rather than the hundreds of thousands. I won't say where this lands. This is not crazy expensive or anything, but there's a lot of little things that affect how much you want to price it. If you custom build things, that costs a lot more. So for example, this sign, we were considering making the sign backlit. So that would have meant like it is like fully lit, right? It's like a lit, smooth, fucking bright screen, basically. But this is just foam that's custom made. And so the difference between that is adding, it's like a massive difference in cost, right? So it's various things like that. There's a lot of different decisions you make. How do you make the desk? How do you make the background signage? So I won't give the exact number, but it is definitely tens of thousands. It costs a lot to do this. Atriox said you killed the budget by adding pipes from the bathroom to make a pea lemonade joke. Yeah. So I paid Denmark extra money and I was like, hey, none of the other guys are doing this. This is just me. I'm just going to blow some of my money. I want us to like have the bathroom be decked out so it looks like there's pee coming from the toilet into the lemonade stand, which again, I told you this last stream. This is literally what I'm spending your money on. When you donate text-to-speech, I decked out our bathroom to make a pee joke for thousands and thousands of dollars. Not a joke. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars for the bathroom, which nobody will ever see. It's like for me, I go in there and I giggle once a week. Like, we don't even own this place.
300 bits.
Somebody donated. Holy shit, Diamonds. Diamonds, thank you for funding 1/5 of a new bathroom for me. I'm investing that directly into our toilet. Don't worry. So this is the core thing, right? We got a friggin' podcast set that I think is really awesome. Even if you don't care at all about podcasts, I do think the process of making these things is really interesting. And this is a pretty similar process if you're making a music video or you're making a big video game tournament or you're making like the streamer awards, right? Who Denmark did the streamer awards for Cutie Cinderella. Like this is generally the type of process that you go through. Like this slow development from early renders to it becomes a little more fleshed out to the actual physical build. And then at that point, you hopefully aren't changing too much, but they're still tweaking and all this stuff. And it's awesome at the end of it. It's really cool. Other minor things, I don't have as many assets for this, but what else we had to come up with, like the name and logo, the promo stuff. So initially it was called Just Good Business, but then we looked and there's literally a podcast about business called Just Good Business. So I'm going to be FR with you guys. We did literally look into what would happen if we just sent it and we just hope he didn't sue us. And eventually, I even literally talked to Parkshire about it and got his thoughts. Aiden talked with a lawyer. We literally were like, okay, can you just like own Just Good Business? But the fact that it exists and it's already a business, again, with timelines, it was like, we need to get this done. Like there are deadlines you have to hit. In order to get a custom sign made that says your logo, you have to not only have the name, you also have to have the logo. And then you make the sign and then you install it, right? There's all these steps you have to go through in order to launch at a specific date. And so I was like, we need to come up with a different one. And we decided to focus more on Lemonade. Lemonade Stand is so solid. I don't even remember how we came up with Lemonade Stand. What we had all hoped for was a name that evoked business and lemons, but that's hard to do. And eventually somebody was like, what about just Lemonade? Lemonade Stand, the concept of a lemonade stand does fit the like business and amateur vibe, right? It does actually do that. And so maybe we just sent it with that. So we went back and forth on it for a while. And then eventually on, let's see, January 28th, after some discussion, I agree with everything you said. I think Lemonade Stand has a way stronger immediate connection to business and connotation to our vibes. And that's when I said, this is officially the podcast Lemonade Stand. Woo! We started getting logos made. So we had the idea of like a lemon in a briefcase. We reached out to a couple different designers, I think like 3 different ones. Fien made one that we really liked, thought this was a sweet ass logo. The text we were kind of unsure on. And so I happen to be something of a graphic designer myself. And so I actually went in and I took the text and then look at how professional that looks. I fucking added color to it. So like it was initially just gonna be black. And then I was like, what if it's yellow and green? And then Perry made the good point that this looks exactly like the Sprite logo. Oh, so is it Subway? Yeah, it looks like Subway and hashtag ad. Thank you, Subway, for the sponsor. So I liked this one the most personally. Oh, and then I added the little leaf. I took the leaf from here and then I put it here. I liked this one the most personally. But then Perry was like, yeah, it looks like Sprite. And the other guys were like, yeah, let's just do this one. So it landed on this one. Great job, me. And that's how we had our logo and our text. And then we had to film this promo, and Aatrox had the idea, like from the beginning, of a promo video where we're destroying something, and then the camera cuts out, and we're destroying a kid's lemonade stand. And then, I mean, you saw the promo, I assume we're destroying a kid's lemonade stand. So what we did is, like, we got a yard. And then we got a bunch of real weapons. Denmark made us a shitty lemonade stand. And then we just spent hours taking slow-mo epic shots of us destroying shit. So we have all of these fucked up shots. Like, they just don't even make sense. Why would I be shooting the why would I be shooting it with a bow and arrow? Why wouldn't we just keep using the bat? Where did you get the chainsaw from? Perry went to Home Depot and rented a chainsaw. I could have cut all of our balls off. We hired a child actor to come and do this with us. Yeah, he had to stand there while the three of us are in suits, just fucking whacking on his lemonade stand. Dude, I had to do like 10 takes of this.
It's just good business.
Okay, it doesn't look like it because of the camera angle, but I was like inch from this child's ear, and I felt very, I was like, look, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get like really close, and it's gonna be kind of loud, okay? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. Like he was obviously very cool with all of it, and he did great. It was great, but I felt weird because we had like 10 or 15 takes of me leaning into this into his ear and like yelling at him. And I'm telling you, dude, the camera angle makes it look not that weird. I felt like it was this close. Like I felt like I was almost like breathing into his earlobes. When is he going to be on the podcast? Well, I think he has school that day.
Hey Doug, did you realize you beat Mark's podcast Distractable?
No, I did not. I do my best to not look at all these numbers and shit. Like, it's not good. That being said, in case he ever sees this, that's what you fucking get. Don't ever talk about me that way again in the digging hole game. You mention my name a single goddamn time, we're beating your podcast every single week.